Good morning. Good morning, everyone. We'll give everyone a couple minutes to get in, and then we will get started. All right. So for those of you who have been on this before, you know that I am not Jordan Freed. Unfortunately, I have some bad news to share that he gave me permission to share this morning on a call. He has been struggling with his mom has been in bad health, as many of you know, and his mom has recently been called into hospice. And so he is doing exactly what he should be doing today, and he is with family. So I am taking over this call today, and we are going to talk about the relationship you have with your goals. I'm very excited to talk about it. But if y'all have time or if you believe in prayer, please just feel free to send him all the good vibes and energy. I know that he's really struggling this week and he can use all of our encouragement and good words right now. So let's jump right into it. If you have not ever been on a call with me, you know that I love interaction. So please, please, please take yourself off mute. If you have something to share, please add it. This is going to feel like a conversation, and I want it to be something that we can talk through together. So if you have resources or something that has worked for you in the past, please feel free to share that as well. So without that being said, I will jump right into it. Um, let's start with a question that I posted in the Facebook group, and that is, what is the relationship status you have with your goal? And go ahead and share that in the chat box. And it's kind of funny to compare this to a relationship, but what if you had to categorize it? Are you single, still looking for goals? Are you in a relationship? Are you committed? Are you married? Um, are you divorced? Maybe you had an idea and it went bad and you no longer have that goal anymore. So share in the chat box, what is your current relationship status with your goals? In a relationship. Good, David. That's awesome to hear. All right. Well, when you look at somebody that you have, okay, committed but unfocused, Kelly, thank you for sharing. When you look at some of the people that you have in your life that you have the best relationships with, for example, I would say my partner, Spencer, and I have a great relationship. And what are the things that make up a good relationship? For me, it's one, that they matter to me. Two, we communicate regularly. We spend time together. And the funny thing is that we don't have the same relationships with our goals because we don't think of them the same way as we think of having relationships with our goals. So the same principles are the same as if you were to have a relationship with a person. Do they matter to you? Do you communicate with them regularly? And do you spend time together engaged in that idea? Um, in Earl Nightingale, Jordan, Laura, you can share this in the chat. The Strangest Secret, I highly recommend that you all listen to this video. You become what you think about all day long, right? You see you think that we can't hear your thoughts in your head, but we actually can. We can see them. So if you has anybody had the experience of saying, man, that person is so hard on themselves, right? Does anyone have that experience where you're like, man, I just wish that that person would stop being so hard on themselves? We can't hear the thoughts in their head, but we can see them through their actions, right? And the same thing is happening with you. We have our thoughts that are built into our 3D printer. And we've heard Jordan Freed talk about this multiple times. Our 3D printer is constantly printing your reality. And the thoughts in your head are what's feeding that 3D printer, right? And so if you think about it, if time is the printer and you can't turn off your printer because time is always happening and your printer is always going, right? Is always printing your reality. What are you putting into your printer? Have you taken the time to stop and really sit with and focus on the things that you're putting into your printer every single day? Another thought is that the media is also fighting to use your printer, right? We are constantly bombarded with things and social media and all the things that are trying to get into our head. The media is trying to use your 3D printer to print into reality what they want. But you, if you want to have a relationship with your goals and print your goals into reality, you have to constantly be the one feeding that into your printer. Or I'm sure many of you are familiar with Chris Suarez. I will never forget a quote that he said when I heard him speak one day is, your focus and your ability to focus is the new IQ in the modern workplace. Again, your focus and your ability to focus is the new IQ in the modern workplace. You see, the people who have mastered the ability to print their reality the way that they want it is not the smartest people anymore. We have all of the knowledge at our fingertips. The people who master printing their reality are the people who have the ability to control their own focus. So if goals go, and if you think about it, like goals are ways to architect your thoughts, right? So they are the filter through which you architect your thoughts, and your thoughts architect your life. So are you intentionally choosing to think about what you want and who you intend to become? And are you taking time every day to control your printer? So somebody jump off mute and share with me, like, what do you think about that, and how have you taken the time to control what's going into your printer?
For me, I think it's important to be on these coaching sessions every week. So everything that's filtered through my brain is that I want to focus on all the positive things and all the coaching that we have. I'm involved with the Go region, so Shannon Steer will be there today, and so we'll have 2 hours of coaching there. And everything that you all provide has just been absolutely amazing. So it's the way I want to focus my goals are that people matter, because you matter to me, and you matter, all of you matter to a lot of us. And thank you for all of that. And we want to keep that going, because our thoughts just need to be at a high level in this world today, because everything keeps changing so drastically. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And yes, your environment matters. The people you surround yourself with matters. And I mean, my mental health has been better than it's ever been being in proximity, just like a relationship, being in proximity to Jordan and our team. We're constantly building each other up. And that allows my 3D printer to print out a reality that is much better, you know? And so thank you for sharing that. And I'm so glad that you have found value in what we're providing and that we continue to provide it for you. Anyone else want to share?
I'll jump on. I've tried to be like a horse recently and kind of wear blinders. I feel
Yeah,
like you mentioned like there's more and more things that are continuing to compete for our attention. So if
right.
I can focus more on the quality of the interactions I have and reduce the amount of quantity, like I
Mhm.
think we only have so many decision making abilities in a given day. And if we can keep our attention focused on the most important and the best relationships, I've come to realize everything else really doesn't matter.
Well said. Yes. And you actually led me right into my next point. So, when I was preparing for this morning, I was like, what would Jordan do? I think of that a lot. I have like, what would Jordan do if he was leading this? And so, what did I do? I looked up the definition to committed because we all want a committed relationship with our goals. And so, what the definition says is an engagement or obligation that restricts freedom of action. Again, for those of you writing it down, an engagement or obligation that restricts freedom of action. What stands out about that?
I think what stood out when you read that was the restricts the action, because I put in there that I'm committed, but I'm unfocused. And I think when I'm when I'm restricting my action, I can become more focused. So that like resonated very clear for me. Thank you.
Right, me too. I looked it up and I was like, whoa, we all like we set goals because the willingness is there. We believe in that goal. We want to feel that feeling that we have accomplished that goal. But it's the ability to restrict and the willingness to restrict freedom of action where we all get hung up. It's not the willingness to do something, it's the saying no to everything else, right? And so it's funny, I saw something this morning while I was scrolling, which I shouldn't have been. It says you can't be committed to your dreams and your comfort zone. You have to choose. Um, so let's spend a couple of minutes to journal. I will journal as well. What are the things you are giving up or need to give up in order to form a committed relationship with your goal? I'm going to give everyone a couple of minutes and then we'll have some thoughts. All right, Andrew, I see you put in the chat. What are you cheating on your goals with? That is the perfect way of saying that because you really are just like a relationship. You are cheating on your goal when you are giving your time to something other than the goal you have committed to, right? Who wants to share? I. 'Cause.
In total transparency, so I said I need to give up my permission, giving myself permission to multitask. So I was behind the screen because I was multitasking. And so I said, nope, I can't do that. I need to be committed to this 30 minutes and all that it gives me. And the way to do that is for me to show up on screen and for me to be focused on just this one thing instead of doing more than one thing. Because I realize I've missed out on a lot of teaching and a lot of interaction with others because I have given given myself permission to multitask. So transparency.
I
Thanks.
love that. Thank you for sharing. Good observation. Anyone else want to share? Maybe it's something that you are putting into your environment that is not in alignment with the 3D printing result that you would like. For example, one thing I wrote down is I am a sucker for a Netflix binge series. And a lot of times they're on those trashy dating shows that have no business being in my life, right? So is that really something that is in alignment with my goals, or is that an interference with my goals? And can I give that up in order to have a relationship with my goals that is in alignment with what I want? We have social media time, comparison, fear of rejection, wanting instant gratification. Nice. I'm right there with you on the social media time. So one strategy I want to bring up is something that I brought up a couple of weeks ago when it comes to limiting these things that are interferences, and it comes from the performance equals potential minus interference. We've heard Jordan say that over and over and over again, right? Because it is the best coaching formula there ever was. Performance equals potential minus interference. And if you want to increase potential, a lot of times you decrease interference, right? And we've heard him talk about that all the time. What is the interference in your life? We need to decrease that. We just talked about that. We need to decrease these things in order to increase potential. But if we are wanting to decrease these things that we just listed, how can we increase the interference so that they are less likely to happen? Does that make sense? So the example that I thought of this morning is I have a really good friend. Her name is Perry, and she is a fitness trainer and a nutritionist. And I've always struggled with on the bandwagon, off the bandwagon. I follow the trend, I'm off the trend. And so if those of you can relate with that, you know what I'm talking about. And she has created this plan that is really about building into a real life. And one of the things that she does is she says, you know, you're going to go to your girls' night and have pizza and margaritas. You know, you're going to do it. That's not something that you're willing to give up. However, what interference can we put in your life that is going to decrease the amount of pizza and margaritas that you eat once you get there? So what she does in her strategy is she will drink a full protein shake while she's getting ready. So she's getting the protein in before she goes, because there's not a lot of protein in pizza and margaritas, right? And then on her way to the party, she will drink an entire bottle of water. So she's like, I don't go in hungry and I don't go in thirsty. What do you think that does when it comes to margaritas and pizza? It decreases the amount that you're eating. Therefore, you're getting the result that you want. So what is some ways that you can increase interference in order to make those, what Andrew said is what are you cheating on with your goals? How can we increase interference on those things? let's spend a couple of minutes just thinking about that. Would anyone like to share? Andrew's dropped. Oh, Anna, go ahead.
Thank you. I believe it's always important to have a plan. So on my schedule, I like to make sure that everything's covered throughout the day so that I stick with that. And last night I went to an event, and so I drank my water beforehand, right? Because they'll have a good sized dinner and we have speakers and all that sort of thing. But then it's important just to stick with the plan, as you mentioned. And I've lost 70 pounds, and it's been because the focus has changed. And I think it's important to keep my schedule really tight. I know what I'm doing after this, and what I need to cover throughout the day. And I think the main focus for me is that people matter. So I need to know what's happening with them and their circumstances.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Andrew, you're dropping the bombs in the chat over here. Whose dirty feet are you allowing to walk around in your mind? There's a lot of people after your mind share. It's a challenging world. I was thinking today, I used to always be like, man, I don't know, Mom, how you used to go to the library. When you had to write a book report, you had to go to the library, you had to do the research, you had to read the books, you had to take the notes, and really, if I think about it, it's like, yeah, I do have the internet and I have all of the resources, but I have all of the distractions that she didn't have too. And so if you think about it, we've had to learn to master different skill sets in our generation that the generations before us have not had to learn to master. And that is distraction and focus. All right, well, that's all I have for you guys today. I am going to add an incredible video in the Facebook group. If you're not part of our Facebook group, highly suggest you join it. We're constantly dropping content in there, and I'm going to add a video. It's a TED Talk about the master procrastinator, and it is the funniest video portrayed of how the procrastinating mind works. So I highly suggest you go watch it. It is funny and it will make you think about your procrastination in a different way. So I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and we will see you back next week. And if there's anything you need from us, feel free to reach out to us on the group or by our emails. Thanks. Have a great day.